Good morning, everyone, and welcome into our studio. I'm Janet Leah, and we are exploring the properties of blue in this series. If you're a member of my Patreon at our studio, then you'll be doing this veil painting in blue. But today I'm going to try and prepare a wet-on-wet painting for you entirely in blue. I have not practiced this, so I have no idea how it's going to come out. But we're going to see what the qualities of the different blue shades make us feel, and if we can experience afterwards a quickening inside. So let's get started. I have several jars of blue, including the very dark one, indigo, and this one's a little bit greenish with the turquoise. But I'm going to start with my favorite, which is Prussian blue. I'm going to start spatially, and I'm going to let the blue be pretty light in the beginning and spread out as it goes. And I'm just going to use a little bit of water to get this blue into a certain form and shape that is not round, but just emanates a certain quality of form that is nondescript. And then I'm going to continue with the Prussian blue in another area. Again, I want to keep it pretty light, so let me use a lot of water. And I'll just allow this to spread out, and maybe at first it won't touch the other blue, but it will after a while, because I'm going to be covering the entire composition. Down here I'll just put some light blue, and over here some light blue. You can see that these two sort of reflect each other in that they're doing the same movement. So I'm going to come back the second time, and when I paint my first space, I'm going to make sure that I'm consciously creating something that is very different than the first time. This time creating a little more tension by having this blue approach the other one. And this one, though, it may still be receptive in that if this is moving out, then this form may also cup it. And now I'm going to begin to allow them to move together. And each time I return to my original color, I begin to deepen it somewhat. In this way, you could say I'm characterizing the color, deeper tones within the lighter tones, still using just Prussian blue. All I'm trying to do is create a harmonious composition that is interesting yet quiet, not too active at this stage. Every time I change it a bit. And to get different qualities of tone in just one color, I can be aware that I do have light and dark spaces. And I'll do a little bit of lifting. And I just follow. There's no right or wrong here. All right, now let's add some cobalt blue to the mix. And let's put it right on the Prussian. Look at how that changes the blue. A really rich blue. I want to make sure that I'm working spatially and not get just even bands of color as I paint through this form. While you watch me paint blue, perhaps you're getting an active experience, especially if you were to close your eyes after a few minutes of watching me paint. You may experience the orange after image. So let this blue move and develop. And at a certain point, this blue is going to want to indicate to us something. Could be an otter-like form here. And we could develop this into that kind of a ocean scene with an otter. And perhaps back here would be some land mass. And we would certainly want to have waves that would come up and touch the otter. Or maybe it's a kind of beaver. But we could just allow that to meld away and continue with the calming experience of blue. Because sometimes if you work into form too soon, the image is forced. And that would be the opposite of the healing quality that we're trying to evoke with this work. Now I flipped this painting upside down so that you can experience the enveloping quality that the blue creates, embrace. So I think that's what I'm going to work with here for a few minutes, and I'm going to lift off a little bit of light to create that gesture of enveloping here. And let's use a little bit of our blue to sort of surround and create this beautiful form around what would be the head. See the light here? So wonderful. And here, you almost can see some eyes. This could be what you would call a Madonna theme, mother and child. And I do remember in my room when I was growing up, I had a picture of Picasso's mother and child on my wall because I just thought it was so gorgeous. I just wanted to stare at it, particularly when I was going to sleep. And certainly this gesture has lived inside me because I can see here in this form. And I'm just using this large brush and white is a very important element, as this blue from the outside gradually contracts. And that is the quality of blue. It creates form through its gradual contracting elements. Some of you like to see the work slowly evolve. But I know in this age of digital speed, everybody likes things to happen all at once. This is a gradual process. It's a process of me finding what is true to me, bringing it out for you to see. And as the wet on wet paper gets worked over and over again, it does get drier, and that allows the artist to hold the image a little bit better without it always just passing away into the watery element. You can see that this might be the bundle of baby here, and perhaps this would be another way to look at it. The head here, and the other arm wrapping here. But I can begin to draw out that element of baby. And this is the beauty of allowing it to appear to you, is that the way you thought it might have been in the beginning is not the way it turns out to be. And therefore it has a certain truth to it that is uncontrived. But my objective here is for you, the viewer, to be able to see what I see and to make it still appear to be harmonious. I leave the space around the head very light. Little smile. There can be areas of pure abstraction as long as the viewer has some areas that they can attach to in order to see the image that the artist wants to convey. And I have to keep coming back to these areas that I want to show, because the water wants to seep back in there and take away the image. Could be kind of helpful at times. And I begin to tilt the jar and get the pigment at the bottom of the jar to create more lasting form. At a certain point, I've forgotten all about the qualities of blue, and the after image of blue just becomes a natural process of working the color and balancing the forms. And I didn't start out today with the idea of painting a Madonna and Child. Of course, that is an archetype in and of itself, isn't it? We know that from the Renaissance painters. Blue was often used to create that enveloping cloak. How graceful is this hand? Has to be soft. Release that part and not have it be so stayed. Perhaps I can just get a little bit of indication here in the face. And again, I'm just using the cobalt blue and the Prussian blue from time to time just to get a little bit different quality to the colors. I think there's a little bit of yellow inside my cobalt. At a certain point, I'm going to be somewhat drawing onto the image. So I'm using a little bit refined brush for that to create more of the linear quality within the spaces. And this allows me to pull out certain forms that I want you to see. I do have to be careful at this point in the picture that it just doesn't become a drawing of sorts. I do want you to be able to see what I'm envisioning too. So I have to use a little bit of both techniques, drawing and painting. And because I've started with a large space of color, that is the composition, I can return to it at any time. Look at this beautiful gesture here that can come around and actually create very big sweeping movement that holds the whole figure here. I also have some darker blues down here that I might want to use to balance the bottom of the painting. And when I'm doing the faces or the hand, for example, I'm trying to make it come forth in a way that looks natural and is not exactly cartoonish, particularly in the face. I do want to get indications of what I want, such as eye and mouth, but I don't want it to look too drawn on, as I said, or cartoony. So what I do is I put on some color, and then I may remove some color after that in order to gently come forward to quality of the face or the quality of the image that I want. Here I have a very nice thin line coming around to meet here. And I love this little line too. This little dark line next to the face. Now we talked about how there may be an experience of active inside the individual when they are painting a lot with blue, an activity. And of course, all creative processes bring you that feeling of stimulation. It's a kind of joy, a sort of life force that gets stimulated inside you. And it's very wonderful. And I'll know later in the day how I'm going to feel when I'm teaching in the afternoon. If I feel tired, maybe I went a little too far in my artistic work, but it might just give me the energy that I need to really be there with my students. I'll have to let you know about that. And here's this round bundle. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to let you know how I feel later in the day. And maybe I'll come back later and finish it off or change some things. I feel encouraged, and I feel that I'm going to have good energy for my students later in the day. I hope you enjoyed this too, and that it brings you confidence and well-being.